I won't be a fool for love. 'Cause I know I'd rather be alone than being unhappy. Oh, I'm not gonna change for you. 'Cause I know I'd rather be alone than being unhappy. I won't be a fool. Hello and welcome. You're listening to episode 3 of Raising Butterflies. My name is Nomvuyo Nina. Those who are close to me call me Vuyo, and those who are closer yet call me Vuvu. I am an artist, and that's how I had the great honor of rubbing shoulders with and working with our dearly departed Smalls, the comedian, Lungelo.
Got the kick.
So that was my moment of silence for my colleague. We got to work together on the video of a great music artist, a great musician, Popzin, and we shot the video for one of the biggest songs in 2019, Umnyango, an Afro-pop song. Umnyango means door. And really the storyline is that the door was being shut in my face by my lover, who was played by Lungelo. This is art imitating life for me, because I was in the middle of a breakup when I went to shoot for that video. In fact, I'd had the breakup in the early hours of that morning, like shortly after midnight. A breakup by telephone because it was a long distance entanglement. So channeling a spurned female love interest really was art imitating life on that film set. And Smalls made my acting come alive. He is so passionate, and I'm deliberately going to say is, because first of all, his art, his craft lives forever. That's the power of art and artistry. He is so passionate in his acting, and if you watch this music video by Popzin, in fact, it's one of the most watched music videos in Eswatini. The marketing team for that project was off the chain. And if you're an aspiring musician, I would suggest that you seek out the team that promoted that video. More especially if more especially if you have a base in South Africa. More especially if you have a base in South Africa, if you have access to citizenship in South Africa, so as to benefit from commercialized or monetized YouTube uploads, then, you know, as a Swati artist, you could pick the brains of that marketing team and find out how they got so big, you know, in terms of the reach of the project. And doing that in South Africa will get you paid. Of course, I'm deliberately bringing up the issue that Eswatini is yet to get in the paid partners or the paid partnership on the YouTube platform. We need that. I always mention the other countries who are not paid partners, like Botswana, and if I'm not mistaken, Namibia as well. I might be wrong about Namibia, but I know Botswana is not on that platform. However, Botswana has the strongest currency in our region. So I don't imagine that the youth in Botswana are necessarily thirsty for YouTube coins. They have a big artist, William, I think he's lost KRM. He's a comedian as well. Might be saying his name wrong, but his name is William. A light-skinned dude with freckles. Extremely funny. So he does skits and he's huge. Like, regionally he has a big footprint. Regionally he has a big footprint. Regionally he has a huge footprint on social media. And, you know, let me not speak for Botswana artists. I don't know how they feel about not being on the paid partnership on the YouTube platform. I imagine that there are some artists who might be bummed about that, you know. I mean, you can never have too much money. And what I have always suspected about countries like Botswana, Lesotho and Eswatini is that it's less of a commercial or financial decision on the part of our governments whether or not to allow us into the monetized section of YouTube. I really do find that these more repressive governments that are more apprehensive of expression and artists who express a point of view that is different, maybe inconvenient for the status quo, for the interests of those who are in power. Repressive climates like that will affect the performing arts and journalism negatively. These are crafts or forms of craft, of work that will be repressed. They're the first, I think, to feel the pinch in a repressive climate. So I really do think that it's going to be a complicated ask, lobbying to become paid partners as Eswatini on the YouTube platform. But it's something that is, you know, it's something that's on my to-do list. And it's wonderful that you are listening to Raising Butterflies, because more especially if you're an artist or a lover of art, then you will probably receive a petition from me, an online petition, in the coming weeks, and you will know about the issue and support it. because it's a fact that we need to stimulate economic growth in our country. It is in the best interest of the haves and the have-nots alike, because the haves have seen how there won't be peace, and it is dangerous to deprive their fellow man. And the have-nots, the have-nots have proved to themselves that they can reach their limit, their tipping point, and take what they need to take to survive, and they will do it again. They will do it again if they're pushed. It's that simple. So, raising butterflies as a concept was literally just supposed to be about me being giddy, me being infatuated, me enjoying umjolo. Whoever was holding the remote when I recorded the first episode, honey, the volume was just right. The contrast, the lighting, everything was 2p. It was 2p. But of course, hindsight, right? Because to be honest, I had on rose-colored glasses for the most part, and that is a trauma response, because the brain processes trauma or abuse in layers, and sometimes there will just be layers of the abuse that you're not ready for, and to protect itself, the brain will put them on a back burner. But rest assured, these issues will continue to haunt you, give you sleepless nights, until you get up at 4 a.m., and you address the situation, and you talk to your significant other, and it goes to shit if it goes to shit, as it did in my case. So, he decimated the butterflies. He set them alight. His gaslighting torched the butterflies. They are no more. The butterflies are no more.
That's a kick.
So I then had to dig deep, because I'm not gonna let a great idea die. I'm not gonna let podcasting stop in my life, and I had to find something else that I'm passionate about, other than knocking boots with my now ex. And I remembered tarot reading, and I started to play with my cards again after a long time. And so 8 shuffles of the deck in this manner, at least, is thought by mathematicians to completely randomize the deck. For my concentration, randomizing the deck places me in a conceptual void. I have the concept of freedom from past mental influences. So I want to bring myself into a place where I can observe myself and observe the thoughts that I wish to ponder. So I was shuffling the deck. My deck, it's called Tarot Leaves. I got this one in Centurion. I think it's Beth Shilonen who created this deck. Yeah, that's her name. And if I'm not mistaken, she's Canadian. And the images on the cards are inspired by the forestry Oh my god. Sorry, my mic wasn't plugged. That's why it's probably gonna sound like I'm in a deep hole for that part of the discourse. But yeah, Beth Shalinen created this card. This card deck. Sorry. While shuffling, I was going to do the 8 rounds that I always do to randomize the deck. But it was upon the 6th round, as I cut the deck in half, that I actually found a 3-card spread that that assembled itself or arranged itself in my process of randomization. And this is what I like about having that structure for my meditation, is that in this process, intuition is sort of accelerated because the symbols put themselves together, and that heightens the intellectual stimulus, I feel, rather than still having to draw card by card, which is a process for me that, from the point of view of divination, is almost nerve-wracking, because you're always thinking, am I really being led by spirit right now to pick a particular card? I think it's hard to get away from questions like that, of trying to discern the exact nature of your exercise, whether it's divine or just completely 3-dimensional, and there's no meaning or esoteric significance to your ritual, as it were. So, cutting the deck in the middle, I find this 3-card spread. First, I noticed the Fool on the right half of the deck, on top of the right half of the deck. And right opposite the Fool, because in shuffling in this manner, the tops of the halves of the deck are opposite each other in the way that you hold it before reintegrating the halves. So right opposite the Fool was the Star in reverse. And so, you have two cards from the major arcana there, and from the point of view of most tarot practitioners, the major arcana is said to be the instance of big messages from spirit. Sort of like you could place an NB and nota bene when you see a major arcana card, because out of the whole deck of 56 cards, if I'm not mistaken, because it's a suit of ace right through to a 14th card for each suit. So there's 4 suits, and if you multiply 4 by 14, then you get 56. That's how many cards there are, and in total there are 56, and out of them 22 are these big messages, from the universe, called the major arcana. So the tarot is made up of the major arcana and the minor arcana. Right, moving along, I had the Fool and I had the Star, right? And one of the most common tarot spreads is a 3-card spread. In fact, like if I'm really just trying to keep the reading light, or if my concentration is at a level where I don't need an information overload, I don't need many cards in the spread, then I tend to go for the 3-card spread. There's also the Celtic Cross, which is 5 cards. That's the other one that I like to use. I mean, there's different ones. You even have 9-card spreads, etc. So I like to use the Celtic Cross mostly. But what happened as I was shuffling now was the 3-card spread. Because after paying attention to the Fool and the Star that were opposite each other, my curiosity and my intuition obviously led me to see, if a 3-card spread could come out of this accident. And so I looked right behind the Fool, and sure enough, it was another Major Arcana card. Now, out of 56 cards in total, it is significant, arguably, to have 3 cards from the Major Arcana, 3 out of these 22 cards, together in the middle of the deck. Okay, so behind the Fool, there was the Hermit in reverse. So in our 3-card spread, we've got the Fool upright in the middle. We have the Star in reverse to the left, and the Hermit in reverse to the right. So this deck by Beth Shalinen comes with a booklet with very helpful comments about tarot reading and suggestions and tips, like the different arrangements or layouts in which the cards can be spread or read. So with the 3-card spread, the middle position is significant because it represents what she calls the present energy of the querent. So the querent is the person on whose behalf the reading is being done. In this case, it's just myself. I'm reading my own energy. I don't have a friend who has asked for a reading or a client. I am the querent in this case. And so the middle position is my energy. To the left is labeled number 2 on her template for this kind of reading. And it represents what she calls the prior influence or preceding influence, meaning really the background or the thing that happened before the present moment, and not necessarily in chronological order of events in the life, but the operative word is influence. What was significant in the past that has brought us into our present energy is the question. To the right, there is the 3rd position, which represents likely outcome. So this is where tarot reading gets the reputation of fortune telling, of telling the future, along with other modalities of divination, be it numerology, astrology, etc. So my present energy is represented by the Fool. I won't be a fool for love, 'cause I know I'd rather be alone than being unhappy. Oh, I'm not gonna change for you. 'Cause baby, I'd rather be alone than being unhappy. "2019 was a very good year," I'd say, creatively. That's when this beautiful music video that I have used excerpts from was created by the collective of us artists I've mentioned at the start of this episode of Raising Butterflies. Now, the tarot itself is said to have a story. It's said to have a story. And the version that I have read about what this oral tradition was that surrounds the symbols that are seen on the cards, the different archetypes, like the Fool, is that the Fool became the protagonist of this hero's journey in literary terms, with all of the stages that one would expect of the hero's journey. I don't know them off by heart, so I shan't go into them. I also want to be careful not to come across as a know-it-all. I've been told by one of my colleagues and very close acquaintances that I can come off that way, especially in a work environment, working in the media specifically. So to try and come away from that, I'll just talk about the story. Let's forget about the hero's journey and its stages and just think of the story as having a beginning, a middle, and an end. A first part, a second part, and a third part, much like the tarot spread, the 3-card spread that I chose for this episode. So to come away from a sterile discussion about literary terms, I'll just skim over the symbols that I have in my 3-card spread, which are the Fool, the Star, and the Hermit. So for me, the Star is significant because of the father of my daughter. So when I met him, I posted on Facebook about this recently. When I met the father of my child, we were outside. This was our first meeting ever. We were outside. I won't say what we were doing, but you can guess. And I suppose it is important what we were doing, because it is straight after this doing that there were 3 shooting stars. 3 of them. He saw one of them, and I had seen 2 just the moment before, but I hadn't alerted him to it. So when he told me that he'd just seen a shooting star, I didn't see the 3rd one. When he told me about it, then I told him about the 2 that I saw. And and he said, like, he was clearly, what's the word? I won't say surprised, but it seemed to make a deep impression on him. And he said to me, well, that means our meeting is significant. He spoke Siswati, but it's hard to paraphrase what he said. But it gave the meaning that he was saying that our meeting had an ancestral importance, or an importance to our ancestral spirits and to the heavens, because he speaks of the heavens in those terms, as housing our ancestral spirits. So so it was upon our first meeting that we conceived our daughter Wenzulu. And while I was pregnant, I saw on social media that he now had a middle name that he had coined based on when we met and how our daughter was conceived. Now, it may be that he had the name all along, and then he decided to use it after that meeting, because he wasn't using it before. But the new name basically alludes to arriving with the stars. Yeah, if there's one person who likes himself, it's this person, it's this man. And I speak of this because these are the kind of stories, the kind of lore that we create around our love lives that really does raise the butterflies. I really did have a strong case of the butterflies from the moment of conceiving my daughter throughout my pregnancy. So yeah, okay, shooting stars and all that. So in the tarot, it is said that if a card is in reverse, which means upside down, as was the case with my star card and the hermit card, when a card is in reverse position, it is said it could be a negative meaning, but not all tarot readers take it as a negative aspect, and even those who do, it can vary. It can have a negative meaning for one querent and a positive meaning for another. It really does depend on the set of events that each person is dealing with in their lives. So my star being in reverse, being upside down, if I think of the star card in one of its widely taken meanings of wish fulfillment, I would say that my star card would be upside down because I had wished to become a royal wife and wear a matinda, which is it's a choker necklace that is given to royal wives. And if the father of my daughter had married me, I would have been able to wear this necklace, and it's worn while breastfeeding the child. So it's worn during the child's breastfeeding years. And my daughter's 2 years old now. I'm still breastfeeding her. I won't wean her off. So it's not too late. It's not too late. But a lot has happened. A lot has happened. And I still wish that we can overcome our issues. I still wish we could overcome our issues and get married, because I really would like to wear this choker. I really would like to wear a matinda. I really, really would. Okay, moving along. So my star card is upside down, but I suppose I would then need to pray that the Creator would turn it the right side up. Okay, so that we can slabber the mbuzi, slaughter the goat, do the rituals, and give me my necklace. Snap, snap. And now discussing this Hermit card at the end of my reading. Now coming to the Hermit card at the end of my reading, which was also in reverse or upside down. The Hermit is the recluse, is the symbol of spiritual solitude, philosophy, soul searching, the dark night of the soul, shadow work. These are just some of the ideas and concepts that one can consider when it comes to this card. And my experience of that has been single motherhood. That has been my Hermit experience. It's been being on hyper vigilant mode 24/7, 365. 2 trips around the sun. This is the state that I have been in as a single mother. So the card is upside down for me because honestly, it did turn my life upside down. It turned my life upside down to experience the abuse and isolation that I did when I brought my daughter into the world from my own family. It did turn my life upside down. But I'm coming out of it. And in coming out of it, I'm building a village. I'm building the village that I need to raise my children. It started with getting my son a tutor to reintegrate him back into the schooling system, because a major part of the persecution that I've experienced from my family is forced homelessness. It's evictions. So I found myself homeless about 3 times because that's a punishment. It's a form of control and punishment that is used in my family. 4 times, actually. It was 3 times by my mother and once by my father. So I've been evicted by by these two people, a total of 4 times. And that's what was so ironic about being the subject, the actress in a video where the storyline has my partner, my romantic partner, throwing me out of the home. So it really did feel like a bit of a, not a bit of a, it did feel like a curse. I was just going through so much domestically and in the public life in Eswatini as a working artist. I was going through so much that it really did feel that it was a joke. It felt like the universe was laughing, or the matrix of my society was laughing at me rather than with me. When I returned from being evicted in 2019 to being the subject of a storyline where I'm evicted. So, you know, but it is what it is. They say what doesn't kill us better run away. They say what doesn't kill us better run. So this was episode 3 of Raising Butterflies. I may not have a current relationship to generate content from for future episodes, but I certainly have my share of bodies to reflect on and speak on, you know, and reminisce about in coming episodes. So yeah, I mean, buckle up. Let's go on this journey together. What I would love is a guest on the next episode. So if you are listening and you're interested, you know, hit me up in the inbox. And let's talk shop. I'd love to have a guest for my next episode. And my idea is to give you a tarot reading. So I think that would be a lot of fun. Because I've only ever just monologued during a tarot reading. I would love to read somebody's energy and see if it's going to be accurate. That really is what I look forward to. So yeah, let's humor me. Let's dive into each other's energies like that in the next episode. All right, cheers.